Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Shift with Abde Abdeshida. Hmm. I remember over 2 decades ago, about 2 decades and a half ago, um, growing up, I knew this man who was a very wealthy man, apparently of a status at the time. He was doing pretty much very well. He's got several buildings and all that because he's had a block molding company and a couple of them apparently. So he also has over two wives, about three wives, and there's this particular wife of Eve's I know very much. She just got two kids, a boy and a girl. So at the time when this happened, the man fell ill and passed on, died apparently, and he left a will. So over time, while the lawyer was actually going to talk about the will and distribute the properties this wealthy man had, while it passed on to the kids and the three wives, and over he had over 10 kids. Basically, it happened that one of his wives, actually nothing was given to them. The family ripped them off of the kids. So now, one of the building where this particular wife was staying, they actually sold the building as well, so they had nowhere to go. So the mother had to return back to the village, apparently, to go stay there, and left the kids back in the city, right? So they have nowhere to go. So one of the tenants that stays in one of the apartments the man owns has about 8 kids, himself and the wife, making 10, and they stay in a studio apartment, just like a small living room and also the bedroom. So this young man actually went to him and was like, "Oh, sir, can you help me? Because, as my dad is late right now, there's nothing I can do. I have no hope, no help, and all that." And the man looked at him and said, "Well, you know what? It's obvious. I have 8 kids, myself and my wife, 10 of us right here. Squashing ourselves. They have to jump at night, into the restroom, come back. It's a room. What do you think? Wow." So, well, he said, "Well, I'm going to take you in because I understand where you find yourself right now, and there's nothing I can do. So I'm going to take you in as my son." And this very good man took him in and had him as a son, adopted him actually, and he stayed with them for over 4 years. So eventually, he worked his way down into the university. He was able to gain admissions into school, university. He went to school, so he left the home. He left the house. He was in school. He graduated. He came out with a first class in engineering, and as soon as he got out, he was able to get scholarship abroad. He went abroad and went to school abroad as well. So while he went to school abroad, finished. He had a second BSc university, um, as a university graduate, the second level of university in abroad. That's Liverpool University back in England. And while he finished there, he did so well that he was one of the top 5 students over there that did well, that finished well. So he gained scholarship again to Early Business School. So wow. So he went to Early Business School, had his master's, was all paid for. Also, he blasted that. He came out with flying colors. He had good grades and all that, all true. He had a job. So he started living the life. He was taking care of his mother. And so he tried several times to contact the man that helped him, remember, over the year, right? And he couldn't get in touch with him. And of course, back then in West Africa, a whole lot of in terms of communication is very, very poor. You have to send a mail, and if the person leaves where they're staying, then you can't get in touch with them, just like that. So skipping down to the future, this man was already made. He was doing great. He had his family with 5 kids and all that. He decided to go back to Africa, where he hails from, to start a business. So he started a business as well, and he went into politics. So he grew in the ranks of politics, okay? Because he did a couple of courses back in the United States in terms of politics and all that, political sciences and all. So he finished that. When he finished that, he went back home. Now he gained stardom, all right? This man actually went for a gubernatorial election. He became a governor for the first 4 years. He did 4 years brilliantly well. Everybody knew him. I mean, to some folks they liked, but he just ran for governorship election, and in these 4 years, he did well. So he was going for the second round, right? The next 4 years. So he was going around doing his campaign and all. So he went to this particular state in that country, and he had to go see people to talk to, those who the political powers, where you can actually, get them to just give you that word, speak to people, their followers, so they can actually vote for you. So now, while he finished his rally, it was a powerful rally. They finished the rally, and one of his crew members actually told him and said, "Well, there's this one man we got to see. This man is a powerful man. This man's 82 years old right now, and he's a strong man. In terms of, if you actually want to win the votes of these guys in this region, this area, this rural area, and we have well over 40,000 people that follows this man. He's a strong man, wise man." And said, "Well, I would like to go see the man." And he said, "Well, we don't even need to drive far. Look at him sitting down there." Not knowing that I was the man that helped him. And remember, he'd been writing letters trying to get in touch with this man. He couldn't find him. So apparently the man left the city and actually went back home, went back to his village to stay. And so he grew in ranks there, and people respected him. He was one of the respected elders over there. And he met this man, and he fell on his knee and wept and wept. The man saw him and, shook him. And the man said, "Well, I've seen you for 4 years while you were on TV and all that. I tried to get in touch with you. There's no way I could get in touch with you. You know how it is when you become a political figure and all that. They just, try to screen and screen." So I said, "I gave up. But hey, look, this is destiny. And now I'm seeing you, son." And, they hugged, and he said, "Well, sir, you're not going back home today. You're going to come with me to my hotel and ride with me in my car. We're going to sit down and talk about things, how it's been for you. And don't worry about the people you're trying to win, because I know you're going to do great. You're a great son." And they went back into the hotel. They had this conversation, and it went on. My point was, he asked this man, the old man, the young man, he took in at a time, years back. That's now the governor. And the governor asked him and said, "What would you like me to do for you? Because I would like to pay you back. I know I can't pay you back, but just God. But I knew this is just the right time, because destiny has brought us together. And I want to make sure I show gratitude for what you did for myself. In fact, my mom is really, really grateful." And the man said, "You know what, son? I'm not going to ask you for anything, but your brothers, who happens to be his own kids, right? So, there are five of them. And I'm sorry, there are eight of them. And the most senior amongst them finished in engineering classes from one of the prestigious university in Nigeria. And this guy has been doing his business to try to get a job. The job is not well paying, and as you know, he has to take care of his kids, and also his siblings as well. Try to help them school. And the governor said, "Hey, you know what? Hey, no worries. Just give me his number." And I picked up the phone call and called this young man and said, "Hey, come see me at my office." And the young man came, and he asked him just one simple question. He said, "This was what I asked Daddy, your father, that helped me out, for the best critical 4 years of my life. Now, what do you want to do?" And the guy said, "Well, I just started the business in crude oil, I diesel and all that. And, it's a small business." And he said, "Well, okay, there's no problem. So what have you been doing? How much have you ever earned? What's your largest revenue in a year since you started your business?" And I said, "Well, sir, well, putting that in dollars, it's just roughly in a year, it makes pretty much about just $20,000 or $25,000, which is not bad anyway." And was like, "Okay, well, have you ever handled millions, billions before?" And the young man looked at him and said, "Well, so I've never." He said, "Well, then get prepared for it." The catch was, now as a governor, understand that he has so many connections to people far home and abroad. In a nutshell, he picked up his phone and called one of the giants when it comes to crude oil, when it comes to oil and gas in the world. I mean, in the world, in Saudi Arabia. Okay, and called, how wealthy these guys are. Called them and said, "Listen, there's somebody, we're going to put up a conference call tomorrow, and I'm going to introduce you to him. You've been calling me for business." Apparently, they've been calling me to come do business with them, but he refused to do that because he was a governor at the time. And he said, "Well, I have somebody who I know can handle this business and is going to do well." And you know what? Just shortly after then, they had that meeting. And the rest is boom, story. This man, young man, I'm telling you now that he helped, well, as far as the country is concerned, and even around the world, is doing pretty much for himself. So this brings me to the topic of today. Make it count. Can you say that? You can punch that online and just type it in if you're watching. Okay, thank you. You know, make it count. Make it count. Make it count. And that's it. You gotta make it count. You gotta make every moment count. Every moment of your life. You gotta make it count. Every moment you have with people could be the last moment you have. You gotta make it count. Just like the man. He made it count as soon as possible. So the man or the woman or the lady or the guy you have around you, you work with or you live with, or the people around you see, the guy on the street you see on the street begging for food, having nowhere to stay, to sleep, in cold, in winter, you know, and you see that person ask you for something to help them, and you look at them like, oh, well, you know what? You're scruffy looking, man. I can just associate with you. Hey, you never know what the moment holds and stuff. So take every moment seriously because moments don't last forever. You hear me? Take every moment you have seriously because moments don't last forever. They don't last. And your shift could be in the moment, just like the man. Remember the old man, the 82-year-old man, with somebody over 2 decades ago, 2.5 decades ago. And the young man he helped in his house with his 8 kids, himself and his wife making 10, plus his adopted son, okay, 11, in a studio flat. Okay, 20 years later, came to help him, his son. You see how it is? So the things you sow today, the seed you sow today, when you hold a seed in your hand, what do you see? A grain of rice, a grain of corn. You hold it in your hand, what do you see? It's no more corn, okay? It's no more corn. You're seeing it's a seed. And in that seed you're seeing, it's not even a seed. So I want to blow your mind. It's not a seed you're holding in your hands. What you're holding in your hands, it's a forest, okay? Because when you take that seed, in every seed, there's a potential of greatness. In every seed, there's what? There's a tree. When you drop the tree in the soil, what happened? It germinates and grow up to become what? A tree. And on every tree, there's what? There's a fruit. And what happens? The fruits get what ripe, okay? You pluck it up or it falls down on the floor, dies to the ground, also germinates and grows up to become another what? Another tree. So you see the multiplying effect. And what happens? It becomes a forest. So the little thing, the little moment you have right now, it's also like a seed. You have to make it count. You have to make it count. Look around you and look at people around you, the opportunities you have. Because people say, well, I don't have opportunities. No, we all have opportunities every day, every day. And opportunities do not engrave themselves in big moments. They don't come in big fashion dresses so you can see them, how gorgeous it is. Oh, look at me, I'm opportunity. Look at how beautiful I am, how gorgeous. And you look at it and say, yeah, this is no. Opportunities come in a moment. They're intertwined in moments, actually. So you have to unwrap it. That's why every single chance you have to help, you got to make it count. You see, listen, people do not remember days. They remember moments you share with them. A moment of hope. The moment you created that shift in their life. A tsunami of shift to the next level of their lives. Just like the whole man did. Created a shift in the life of that man, the governor who became a governor 20 years later. And what happened? Repaid him back in folds. So eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it dropped in the heart of man what God has in store for you, even for the next person. So you got to realize that powerful moments, powerful time to launch you into your destiny, to create that shift into your destiny, are actually embedded in every moment of your life you have. So it's imperative that you maximize every opportunity in the moment you find to live with anybody, to have with anybody, even at your place of work, whatever you do. Now, I'm going to share two things with you that are very critical to how you can make the shift and things you don't want to look at. Number one is what. Now, a lot of you make mistakes about looking at what people are, how people look, because they look disgusting, they look scruffy looking, rough, and all that, and you just underrate them, you just overlook them because they look like nothing. No, don't do that because you're hurting yourself. That guy on the street that has nothing, that guy today that looks scruffy, that's wearing a torn shirt, that hasn't brushed his tooth. When he speaks, the smell. When he does now, I'm not saying you just go and no, but I'm just saying that look beyond the what. Because the what is very temporal. It's temporal. It's a temporal situation he finds himself in. And in a moment, what happened? It could change. There could be a shift in a moment. So don't look at the what. Number two, the who. Look at the who. The who, WHO, the who. It's not what the man is, it is who a man is. Okay? And you don't have to practice confidence when you know who you are and whose you are, because confidence would exude you. So look at the who in a man, speak forth unto a man as though a man is what you love and be, how you want. See people the way you want to be seen. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So you, in that way, you're making your moments count, every moment of your life. Remember, success is impacting the world with the investment of your personality. It's all about how much houses you build for people. Think about it. Bill Gates. You buy a car, a Maserati car for Bill Gates. You give him as a gift, a birthday gift. Yeah, he's going to appreciate it. He's going to love it. Yeah, thank you so much. It's going to give you a handshake and wow, nice gesture. But does he really need it? No. Bill Gates doesn't need it. But pick a man on the street or a man who doesn't have a job. Help him secure a job. He will never forget you for the rest of his life.